Welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. President Bola Tinubu has announced the extension of free rides on the newly launched Abuja Light Rail until the end of the year. He made this declaration during the relaunch of commercial operations on the Abuja Light Rail, with key political figures in attendance, including the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Sharon Ajay has details.
President Tinubu, who took a 40-minute ride from the metro station to the airport station, accompanied by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, Vice President Kashim Shettima, President of the Senate Godswill Akpabio, amongst others, described the operations of the Abuja Metro Line as a symbolic milestone of enduring progress as a country and in the FCT.
Today marks the milestone of our march towards enduring progress as a country, most especially in Abuja Federal Capital Territory.
He further described the Abuja Metro Line as a symbol of unity and enhanced accessibility.
Abuja Light Rail Metro stands as a symbol of progress, connectivity, inclusivity. It signifies our determination to modernize our transportation infrastructure, reduce traffic congestion in the city, and enhance accessibility to all residents.
The Minister, Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says the success story of the Metro Line being operational is a testament to the reality and great possibilities of the renewed hope agenda.
For me, today is the happiest day. We are talking about the new hope agenda. What is the new hope agenda? Giving back hope to the people. That's what it means. So it is a reality. What you are seeing today is a reality. People will not be happy that I can come to the city and go back. Those who want to watch football match will take the train down to the next train station, walk down to the Moshood Abiola Stadium, finish the match, go back to the train station, and go back to their houses. So when people talk about the new hope, it's as if it is just mere talk. It's a reality.
It could be recalled that the Abuja Metro was first commissioned in 2018 for public use, but it lacked essential access roads and remained non-functional. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
The Nigerian Military High Command has warned the civilian populace against unprovoked attacks on its personnel, as has its negative consequences on troops' morale. Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, who made this known at bi-weekly press briefing on the operational activities of the military in Abuja, says such attacks will no longer be tolerated. Kike Lomo Okere has details.
The Director of Defense Media Operations says the warning became imperative sequel to the unprovoked killings of 17 personnel in Okwama in Delta State, coupled with the recent assault of unarmed personnel in Banex Plaza in Abuja. He described the occurrence as unhealthy for national security, counterproductive, and warned civilians to be mindful of their utterances and action, which can negatively affect troops' productivity.
This is the last thing that we want to hear. So please, let common sense prevail. If our troops here, report them. Be mindful of your utterances and be mindful of your actions. Because like I said, and I will repeat, it's counterproductive and self-sabotage.
Reading out the operational activities of the military in the last 2 weeks, the director says during the week under review, the potency of the terrorists was largely degraded, with 624 terrorists neutralized, 1,051 terrorists, including their logistic supplier and informant, arrested. He added that 563 hostages were rescued, 707 assorted weapons, 16,487 assorted ammunitions were recovered, and denied oil theft of over 7 million naira.
Recovered 411 AK-47 rifles, over 230 locally fabricated guns and 43 pump-action guns, among others, during the month of May.
The military high command, however, urged civilians to respect and appreciate contribution of military personnel rather than resorting to violence against them. Kikelomo Okeri, Global Television News.
In a bid to manage and mitigate spread of diseases in Africa, the National Center for Disease Control has put together a consortium on geometric strategy to discuss readiness for disease prevention and detection. Global Television brings you details. Genomic sequencing technology is the latest technology to quickly fast-track process of disease detection and prevention. The Director General, Nigerian Center for Disease Control, Dr. Jide Idris, says the consortium is put together to address issues worldwide, particularly in Nigeria, with respect to outbreak of diseases, health security, disease prevention, detection, and response, with the help of the genomic sequencing technology.
New technologies have come up. This one we're talking about now is one of the latest technologies, genomic sequencing. This one you go deep into the structure of our makeup, genetic makeup, DNA. You can discover a lot of information. We can use the science for a lot of things. One of them is how to detect this disease, how to trace the various causes, how they are transmitted, so that we can react quickly.
Genomic sequencing will also allow for faster access to information, traces, causes, transmission of diseases, as it helps to mitigate the adverse effects of the outbreak. Queen Agaba, reporting for Global Television. The Kano State Police Command has urged residents to ignore false information circulating on social media that Alhaji Aminu Bayero, the 15th Emir, would lead the Friday prayers at the Central Mosque. The Commissioner of Police, Hussaini Gumel, says in a telephone interview on Friday that Bayero will observe his Friday prayers in the mosque within the Nasarawa Palace, where he currently resides. The Commissioner said the police and other state security agencies will provide robust security at the Emir's Palace, where Emir Mohammed Sanusi II is expected to lead the Jummah prayers. The World Health Organization's Regional Director for Africa, Dr. Matshidiso Moeti, says tobacco use among young people in the African region aged 13 to 15 years is about 7 million. Moeti, who said this in her message to commemorate World No Tobacco Day, stressed that young people are exposed to tobacco products through extensive social media streaming platforms, campaigns, and social media influences. The annual World No Tobacco Day campaign is observed on May 31st to raise awareness of the harmful and deadly effect of tobacco use. The theme for this year is protecting children from tobacco industry interference. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has called on state pilgrims welfare boards to partner with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to prevent the smuggling of prohibited items into Saudi Arabia. NACON Executive Chairman Jalal Arabi emphasized this need in a statement released by the Commission's Assistant Director of Public Affairs, Fatima Usara, in Abuja. Arabi highlighted the importance of collaboration between state authorities and related agencies to apprehend those attempting to smuggle prohibited items. The Nigeria Communications Commission says it has ordered mobile network operators to conduct an independent audit of their billing systems to tackle the rising concerns over data depletion among subscribers. The Commission's Director of Public Affairs, Ruben Moka, signed a statement on outlining this directive, which aims to ensure transparency and accountability in data usage and billing practices. Furthermore, the NCC is taking steps to simplify tariff plans, aligning with its broader mission to enhance transparency within the telecommunications sector. The regulator added that this initiative seeks to offer consumers clearer and more comprehensible pricing options, empowering them to make informed decisions regarding their network preferences and service selections. The death toll in the May 15th bombing of a mosque at Gadam Village, Gezawa local government area of Kano State, has risen to 21. A total of 25 early morning worshippers were injured in the mosque bombing attack. While one person died on the date of the incident, 20 have died at the Mohammed Specialist Hospital, Kano, where they had been receiving treatment, leaving only 4 surviving. The chairman of Friends of the Hospital, Alhaji Bature Abdulaziz, revealed the latest development when he led some members of the Kano business community on a sympathy visit to the 4 remaining victims of the attack at the hospital. You're watching the Midday News, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Don't forget, we're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on our social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When Midday News returns, Canada to discontinue accepting police clearance certificates as requirement for individuals entering the country as temporary residents. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, if you've just joined us, this is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the Midday News. On the foreign scene, the website of South Africa's Electoral Commission was down earlier today as the country counted votes from a key election in which the ruling ANC looked set to lose its majority. With a third of votes in the Wednesday's election tallied, the ANC was leading but with a score of only 42%, well below the 57% it won in 2019. The Centre-Right Democratic Alliance followed on 25%. The leftist economic freedom fighters and former South African President Jacob Zuma's Umkhonto Sizwe were neck and neck on around 9% each. A New York jury has found Donald Trump guilty on all 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, the first time a former U.S. president has been convicted of a crime. The verdict was read in the Manhattan courtroom where Trump had been on trial since April 15. He had pleaded not guilty to all 34 counts of falsifying business records related to a hush money payment made by his former lawyer Michael Cohen to adult film star Stormy Daniels in the final weeks of the 2016 presidential election. Trump is first former president to be convicted of criminal charges in U.S. history and will be sentenced in July. The Canadian government has stated that police clearance certificates are not required for individuals entering the country as a temporary resident, including those on study permits, as they are normally unreliable. This statement was made by Canada's Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship, Mark Miller, during a session of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Citizenship and Immigration. The minister's clarification comes amid debate about security checks for temporary residents, including international students, following recent criminal cases involving past visitors. Dozens of Hong Kong's prominent democracy activists were convicted and sentenced to prison following the city's largest national security trial. 14 activists and politicians were found guilty of conspiracy to commit subversion due to their roles in organizing an unofficial primary election to increase their chances in citywide lawmaker polls in the year 2020. A total of 47 pro-democracy figures were accused in what would later be referred to as the trial of the Hong Kong 47, out of which 31 defendants have since pleaded guilty to the offenses, while 16 decided to fight the charges, opting for a full trial that lasted more than a year. Pressure is growing on U.S. President Joe Biden to allow Ukraine to use West-supplied weapons to strike Russian territory. A number of U.S. allies this week signaled they were open to the possibility Russia's Vladimir Putin has warned of serious consequences, especially for what he called small countries in Europe. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Washington's stance on the matter would adapt and adjust based on changing battlefield conditions. In business, the federal government has inaugurated a 5.2 million standard cubic feet per day compressed natural gas plant in Lagos in an attempt to lessen the impact of petrol subsidies removal on Nigerians. The CNG plant was built through a partnership between NNPC Gas Marketing Limited and Transit Gas Nigeria Limited, owned by Accela. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Gas, Ekperikpe Ekpo, who commissioned the plant at the Solo Industrial Area, Ilasomaja in Lagos, said the occasion under the theme From Gas to Prosperity CNG for All represents a critical turning point in the development of affordable, sustainable and secure energy sources in the country. Nigeria may add 480,000 barrels to its daily crude oil output as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and ExxonMobil took a step towards resolving the disagreement surrounding the sale of the latter's assets to Seplat Energy. The NNPCL confirmed it had signed a settlement agreement with ExxonMobil companies in Nigeria over the proposed divestment of 100% interest in Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited to Seplat Energy Offshore Limited. This is coming barely 24 hours. I beg your pardon. This is coming barely 24 days after President Bola Tinubu announced his intervention in the debacle between NNPCL and ExxonMobil, hindering the sale of the assets to Seplat. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Heineken Lokwabiri, said recently that Nigeria had lost about $30 billion in the past 2.5 years as a result of the unsuccessful divestment. Economic and commercial activities came to a standstill across the southeast. Filling stations, banks, restaurants and major supermarkets shut down as a result of the sit-at-home order issued by the Proscribed Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, last week. The group declared May 30 as a sit-at-home in the southeast to honor our heroes and heroines who died in the civil war between 1967 and 1970. Despite complaints of low power generation, the electricity distribution companies were able to raise monthly revenue from 95 billion naira in January to 100 billion naira in March 2024. According to data released by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, 97 billion naira revenue was generated in February. The rise in revenue occurred at a time when the country experienced a huge drop in power supply as a result of gas shortages. The federal government has disbursed a total sum of 20.11 billion naira to 402,283 beneficiaries of the 50,000 naira presidential conditional grant scheme. The beneficiaries selected from the 774 local government areas received a direct payment to their bank accounts via their bank verification number. This information was disclosed in a document exclusively obtained from the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. The federal government has disclosed that it has electrified no fewer than 15 federal universities and teaching hospitals with hybrid solar grids with a combined capacity of 35.5 megawatts. The Chief Executive Officer of Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Aliyu, stated this at the just concluded Alliance for Rural Electrification Energy Access Forum in Lagos. Aliyu disclosed that the aim is to supply 24-hour electricity to 350,000 students while giving 50,000 lecturers access to electricity. That's it on the Midday News, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.